recording. There you go. Started recording, and I hope you're able to see my screen as well. Thanks, Shraddha. So first, as we do always, let's start with the recap. So can you please come out with some points that we have discussed yesterday? Anything that you could remember from yesterday?
What's the performance testing?
Okay, so we have started defining performance testing. Okay, we have looked into a real-time architecture, how it looks like, the one with the hardware information and the web app server information with the versions we have discussed. Okay, so we have discussed about a machine called Sunfire. Okay, with the version as well, V490. Okay, then we have realized that for this they don't have i3, i5, i7. They have something called Ultra Space. Okay, 4. Was it Ultra Space 4 or Ultra Track 4? Anybody could remember what was that exactly? Ultra Spark, right? Wonderful. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So it was Ultra Spark 3 CU processor. Okay. Okay. Then it is 32 GB. If you are wondering for the servers, what would be the memory? The memory will be around 32 GB. Okay. It could be 16 GB as well, depending upon what you have purchased. So this was the information of the host machine, okay, on which you have actually installed my servers. And for this project, they have used WebLogic as the web app server, okay, WebLogic as a web app server, and the version was 10G. What was that? 11G R1. Okay, so it's 11G and release 1. R1 means release 1. Okay, 11G R1. That was, and the database was Oracle 10G. Okay, so this is what I had for my architecture in one of the projects. So you can go ahead and use this in your interviews if you would like to. Okay. Hang on. It is using Blue 80. Okay. Now we went into the definition of performance testing. What is performance testing? What is performance testing? Okay. Can somebody over here put it in the chat window, please? I want to hear from everybody. Oh yeah, Majid, wonderful. I totally forgot. Before we went into performance testing, what is performance testing? There is one important thing that we have discussed. One is the difference between think time and transaction response time. TRT is the transaction response time. Okay, the difference between the think time and the transaction response time. Think time is the time taken by the user. Okay, in simple word. Okay, transaction response time is time taken by whom? Time taken by whom? Time taken by whom? Let me see if I got any responses. By the system, wonderful. Or by the servers, or by the system, wonderful. Time taken by the system, or you can call it as the servers, whatever you wanted to tell. Okay. Then we went ahead and formally defined what is performance testing. Okay. What is PT? PT means performance testing. What is PT? Performance testing is testing an application for 3 things. What is the first thing, guys? What is the first thing? Wonderful, Melly. Speed. Second thing, scalability and stability. Okay, in any of the order. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so do we do with these real users or virtual users? do we do the performance testing with real users or virtual users? Okay, with under virtual user load. In what kind of environment? In what kind of environment? In what kind of environment is it? Any environment like production environment? We can do that in production environment or any environment? No, it should be like a production like environment. Okay, ideally. But does that happen in the real world? No, because in some cases yes, but in some cases no. Okay, so in the real world, probably for our Phil, they have given he was given with 75% of production like environment. Okay, so somebody else will be given 50%. Okay, depending on it. For me, honestly speaking, I was given 50% of it. 50% of it, and 50% of production like environment. Okay, and the expectation is if the performance is good with 50% of production like environment, the performance will be definitely better. Okay, if not same, in the real production like environment. Okay, so this is what we have discussed, guys. This is what we have discussed yesterday. Okay, and we started that's about it, I believe. Yeah, this is what we have discussed. So we will get started now. So probably from the next weeks, maybe you will start getting assignments on a regular basis, guys. Okay. Yeah, we have discussed about think times. Okay. Now this is important, guys. Pay attention. This is important here. Okay. So Shraddha will take it offline, please. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for understanding. Okay. I'll stay back as long as you want it, Shraddha, after the class. Okay. We'll definitely take it. Okay. So performance testing life cycle stages. Performance testing life cycle stages. Pay attention here, guys. Pay attention here. Okay. So typically everything has a life cycle. Okay. So if you go back to your school days, whenever I hear this word life cycle, the first time I heard about the life cycle is frog life cycle. Okay, the life cycle of the frog. Okay, if you remember, I don't know, maybe it was in our science. Okay, so before your in your schooling days, when you're a kid, you definitely learned about it. Maybe it was a tadpole, and then I can't remember all of that, but you see from the tadpole it becomes little bigger. First is eggs, like then you have a tadpole, and then you have a fully grown, then you have a baby frog, and finally you have a frog coming out of it. Okay, then the frog will give the eggs. So there is a life cycle. Okay, it continues. This is the first time probably you would have heard about it. So most of the things in the life has the life cycle. Okay, same is performance testing. Okay, so if you're coming from a manual testing, or a system testing, there is something called system testing or just testing life cycle. Okay, so testing life cycle or software testing life cycle. So if you're a manual tester or a functional tester, definitely you would have heard about it. Software testing life cycle. So if you're a security tester, you have security testing life cycle. Okay, if you're a performance tester, you have something called performance testing life cycle. So now we are a performance tester, we will look into performance testing life cycle. Hang on, guys, 1 second, please. Just give me a moment. Let me grab some glass of water. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so let's get into this. Let's see different stages of performance testing. So a lot of people have this question that, Kumar sir, I got into the project, so I'll start creating the scripting, or if I get into the project, the first thing is I'll start creating the scripts. No, there are some stages. There is a step-by-step process for that. We will look into this process step by step very carefully, and we'll try to understand on the high level what happens in each of those steps. Okay. Now, the very first step, once you get into a performance testing project, let's say you're hired as a fresher, okay, or you're hired as an experienced person, the very first thing what happens when you get into a performance testing project is NFR, non-functional requirement gathering, and you not only gather them, but you analyze them. Okay, so what do? The very first step is to gather the requirements from the client as to what do they want from the system. What do they want from the system? Okay. So this is a process usually goes for 15 days, typically 15 days, but it changes from project to project. And if you're going for an agile methodology, probably you wouldn't have this stage. They'll just throw some documents at you and you're supposed to get it done quickly. But if it was a normal project, typically, you spend 15 days. 1 week to 15 days. It totally depends upon your manager as to, depends upon your lead as to how he is managing it. Okay, so usually this process takes 15 days. Okay, usually I'm saying, nothing can be like, rock solid. Things will change from project to project, but usually, typically, it will take 15 days for this particular gathering. Now, the next question is, from whom do you gather these requirements? Okay, the answer is very, very simple, from your stakeholder or from your business or from your client. Okay, different people call by different names, but typically the guy who is paying you the money, from them, you will gather the requirements. And we don't call it as just requirements, we call them as non-functional requirements, because performance testing is non-functional testing. Okay, simply we call this as NFRs. When you get into the project, it will be, people call this or refer to this as NFRs, non-functional requirements. Okay, so it happens for 15 days and client is supposed to give that. Now the next question is, Kumar, what kind of requirements do we gather? I totally agree that it's a very, very valid question. There's a lot of information that we gather. I'll spend one full day on these requirements, guys. Okay, you have to hold on. Okay. So once after this 15 days, you spend some amount of time on a particular task, okay, or a particular stage, there should be some output. Okay, so for example, our Melly is spending every day 7 hours learning performance testing. It's not an overwhelming number, or it's not an assumption. She sends me every day a status report as to how much time she has spent and and she will give me a breakdown as well as to on which days what she has spent and what kind of questions she has. Okay, I wanted this from a lot of people, but Melly sends me this status regularly. So now, if she is spending certain amount of time on a particular thing every day, we expect some output. Okay, and she also tells me what is the output of that. So similarly, here also we have spent 15 days on a particular task. There should be an output. Yes, there is an output, and that output is what? NFR, requirement document. So whatever the requirements you have gathered and whatever the analysis you have done, you have to supposed to document that, and that is an NFR document. Typically, the client will give that and you will do the further analysis, or sometimes what happens is, you're supposed to gather it from different sources of the clients. Sometimes they say that, oh, you want the scalability requirement, go talk to that guy, or go talk to that lady. You want the information related to the workload modeling, okay, I think you should touch base with so-and-so guy. So what you do is you gather the information from so many people, and then you put all that information in one single document, which is the non-functional requirement document. Okay? And if the client is very knowledgeable about this fact, like if he is lucky, then you will get the document from him. Everything, whatever is there, it will be documented and you will get it from him. Hang on guys, 1 second please. Okay, I hope you are able to listen. I mean, there is no background noise, I hope. Okay. Now, okay. So now who is the responsible person in your team who does this? Typically the test manager, your performance test manager is supposed to do this. Sometimes, okay, your performance test manager, he's managing too many projects and he doesn't have the time. Then performance test lead is the one who will coordinate with the client and get this information. In my knowledge, with my experience, it was always performance test lead who was doing this activity. But as per the norms, or as per the rules, or as per the things, the process, the test manager is supposed to do this. But the things will change. Sometimes the test manager will have the test lead do this work, okay, or delegate this work to the test lead so that he will get into it. And sometimes you as a tester, if you are lucky, will be involved in this stage, and which is very important, so that you'll understand what is going on. Okay. Now, okay, so this is an important interview question, guys. Sometimes there is an interview, guys, who would ask you, what are the challenges you have faced when you're collecting the NFRs? Okay, so this is sometimes, some students come back to me and say, oh, this is the interview question I was asked, Kumar, so what would be the best answer for that? So let me share some of the challenges that I have faced while collecting the NFRs. But I do agree that there are people who are already here working in the performance testing area. I would be glad if somebody wants to share their experience as well, because everybody wants to hear that. Okay, first let me share my experiences, then I will leave this and leave it to others so that they can, they can share their experiences as well if they wanted it to. So first thing is, with some clients, what I have seen is they are not knowledgeful enough. So what they do is, they have given the functional requirements, but they haven't given the non-functional requirements. So what I as a performance testing lead or a performance test manager, I used to talk to them, I used to educate them as to what is performance testing, and as a part of performance testing, what is these requirements that I am expecting from them. Okay, so then once they get educated, so it's a continuous process. It's not a one-time meeting or something like that. So every time this meeting happens, they send me some information, and they will be missing some information. Again, you call up for a meeting, and then again you explain that, oh, this is all the information that I was expecting, but I got only this much information. So this is one challenge. So you're educating them. It's a continuous process for one single cycle until you get all the information for that 1 week or 2 weeks that you're coordinating with them. First challenge. Second challenge, okay, there is no one point of contact, okay, to get this information. When they say client is not one person. So first you go to the program manager, then he will give a point of contact for performance testing. So there might be a performance test manager from the client side as well, so that you will be coordinating with him. Or there could be some business analyst. Okay, that's what our clients. So you talk to the business analyst, and then he says that, oh, I can give you only this information, but for this information, for the statistics, probably maybe you should talk to him. So they will patch him with him, and then probably you talk to them. And then for scalability related information, say, I'm not the right person, you should go talk to them. So there's a whole bunch of people that you have to talk to. Finally, you get what all you wanted it. So there's no one single person or one single point of contact. So these are the few challenges that I have faced, when I was collecting or gathering this NFRs. Okay, some of the people, what they said is, oh, for the statistics as to what has happened last month, okay, I'll not be able to do it, but you can go into the web server logs and you can pull it up. So for the web server logs, you should go talk to the system admin. So I'll go to the system admin, get the web server logs, and I'll analyze those logs myself and then probably get the information. So these are all the challenges that I faced while gathering the NFRs. Probably you can share this as your challenges for your interviews. Okay, so anybody else over here wants to share your challenges, guys, with the class? You can unmute your mic and please start speaking in case if you wanted to. Okay, so Phil is sharing some experience getting key business process, KPIs, SLAs, throughput, transaction rates. Yes, wonderful. Yeah. So whatever Phil has said, we'll talk about that definitely when we are discussing about NFRs. Okay, we spend probably one whole day understanding what all the NFRs, okay, that we needed. So so wonderful, Phil. Thank you. So those terms which Phil has mentioned, it will be little. You might not know them. Okay, so you might be overwhelmed. Don't worry. By the time we complete the NFR chapter, we'll definitely know each term. Okay, so that's what NFR. That's what the challenges Phil has faced. So let's see what Srivalli has to face. Yes, Ayo, definitely, 100%. Okay, I'll share some NFRs. Okay, workload modeling info, wonderful. Phil, unable to get peak hours on point of sale or point of sale used in multiple locations. Wonderful. Okay, so that's what I was talking about, the workload information. Srivalli, okay. Rupa says staging environment not ready. Okay, so that's you would have to deal with the infrastructure team for. Okay, Rupa, great. Okay, wonderful. So IO will get to see what the document looks like. Okay, sure. May not be today, probably tomorrow, if possible today. Let's see. So that's what it is, guys. So you spend 15 days and you would have something to show in the NFR document, requirement document. Now the next stage, we are not done yet. Okay, we are not done yet with the performance testing life cycle. So now you get into the next stage. Okay, so the whole performance testing happens in the form of stages. Okay, now after 15 days you are done with this. Now your performance test manager has created this document, or the business has created this document. So now we have the document. This document will be shared across all the people, guys. It will be shared across performance test lead and performance test analyst and performance testers and other people as well. Okay, who is related to your project. Now this document goes as an input to the next stage. This document goes as an input to the next stage. So what is this next stage? What is this next stage? The test strategy or the test planning. The test strategy or the test planning. So now, guys, test strategy, test plan, there should be an input. Input is the NFR document. Input is the NFR document. Now you tell me, guys, so you're getting married. Okay, you're getting married. So you just your marriage is on, let's say, November 10th. Not November 10th. November 10th is like, very short notice. So let's say it's November 20. So your marriage is on November 20. It's not like you go to the church or your temple and then get married. You just get ready on November 20, go to the church and then get married, or there is a prior planning for that. Is there a prior planning for that? Okay, so I'm just asking you a simple question, guys. So you go directly on that D-Day, or which is November 20, and then okay, I'm getting married, and you get married, or there is a planning for that, maybe ordering some cakes, calling some friends and family, talking to the church, and then making sure it is booked. So do you do anything like that, or just go there and get married? What happens in the real world? I'm just asking you. A simple question. So you do planning for that event because it's a big event in your life. There is certain planning. There is certain planning for that. Okay. So similarly, you're spending, and by the way, for performance testing, we are spending a lot of money, as I've told you. Performance testers are expensive, tools are expensive. You have to build up. Just yesterday, you have realized that you have to build up a full-scale production environment which is very, very expensive. So a lot of money is being shelled out by your client on this. So when there's so much money is at stake, there should be a proper planning. Okay, so even let's say you're preparing for a particular certification or an exam, there is a proper planning for that. So everything, every important event or every important work that you do in your life, there is a planning. So is performance testing. It's extremely important, and a lot of money is at stake. There should be a proper planning that needs to be done, and that is done by whom? That is done by whom? The performance test lead, with the help of performance test manager. Usually the lead will start working on the document, and if the lead is new and he hasn't done it before, or he's new to work, or for some reason he needs the help of test manager, he can always go back to test manager and fall back on him. Okay, so sometimes I've seen managers creating the test plan as well, but very, very rare. It's always a lead who takes charge of this particular activity. Okay, so now here is the thing. In the interview, sometimes ask you what is that. Okay, once you say that you're involved in performance test planning, they will ask you what all the things that you have done. Okay, as a part of performance test plan, and what is that what is that you have planned and what is that you have done as a performance test planning. I would say that today might not be the right day, guys, because I'll be deviating a lot. So I'll pick up a weekend. Okay, may not be this weekend, but the next weekend I will show you a sample performance test plan. I will go through each stage with some amount of details, and to get a ballpark idea as to what all the information that you gather and how a performance test plan looks like, and I will share that sample document with you as well. Okay, but that will happen over the weekends. There are certain topics which was not a part of the plan. Okay, so that is not part of regular classes, and this is one of them, like Jmeter, Dynatrace, performance test plan, and some specific interview questions which are regularly asked. This always happens on the weekends. So do you think it will happen on this weekend? This weekend I'm busy because I'm starting the classroom training. Okay, so I'm planning on setting up the classrooms and all that. So this weekend I'm busy. So definitely we will do that on the next weekend. And the expectations is, guys, this is a clear expectations to everybody, that I am expecting everybody in the class in the weekends as well. Okay, this is not part of the plan, but I have added all that extra topics only for you. Okay, so that you will become a better performance testers. So the expectation is everybody please come over and take the maximum advantage of those classes. So I'll show you what a performance test plan looks like, okay, along with the other topics. So the weekend classes will be typically 1 to 2 hours, depending upon what is the topic that we have selected and how much time we needed. And the weekend classes, okay, as I've told you, it's mandatory for everybody. Okay, again, those will be recorded as well, but I expect you to come, and that will be in the evenings in India. It will be in the evenings for Indian students and mornings for US students. Since it is weekend, so I expect that US students will be like available in the morning, so that will be morning for US students. So exact timings I will let you know 2 days prior to the class. Exact timings I'll let you know 2 days prior to the class, and please be active on the WhatsApp group. Please keep checking the messages on that WhatsApp group if there is any change in the timings, if there is any change in the links. So whatever it is, I'll send you an email, but I will also post it in the WhatsApp group. Okay, any questions, you can post it in the WhatsApp group. Like, you have some questions, like you're trying to join, but the links are not working. So you can put it in the WhatsApp group, somebody else will respond, because as I'm speaking, I cannot, check my WhatsApp. So I'll not be able to, help you out. I've seen that happening. So some students, after the class has started, they started pinging me. Okay, so if you are there in the group, you can post some things like that. And also the regular things which are there, I'll keep you posted on the WhatsApp groups, like, when will this evening classes be, what are the timings and all that. And 1 hour prior to the session, I'll give you the intimation that session is about to get started. So be active on the WhatsApp group, guys. Okay, and you can discuss anything that you wanted under the roof, related to performance testing. Okay, maybe jobs that you see, or in your companies you have jobs, like, or you have some interview question, or you have started preparing the resume and you need help. So you post it over there. Somebody will help you out. Okay, or I'll be there. I'll be there. Okay, so as I've told you, what's there in the performance test plan, you have to stay back. So then the first weekend will be only one weekend, Melly, but after that I'm expecting probably two. Okay, probably two, but I'll keep you posted on that, Melly. But please plan accordingly. So I'm giving 2 weeks prior intimation, or at least 10-day intimation, prior intimation. Please plan it. Okay, I know some of you are working, but please plan your workarounds, work timings. As I've told you, it will be in the mornings, and the first weekend will be not this weekend, but the next weekend. Okay, so let me give you the exact timings as well, the dates as well, sorry. So it will be on, this is Indian calendar, so it will be on 17th or 18th. Okay, so one of these days. So I'll exactly let you know on probably on 13th or 12th as to what the day will be. And the next weekend, probably it will be 2 weekends. Okay, 2 weekends. Okay, so okay, now test plan. Okay, so again, how many days do you think this will happen? Give it a guess. How many days this will happen? Again, this will be typically for 15 days. Typically for 15 days. Okay, again, it's the same story, typically for 15 days. But again, it changes from project to project and all that. But I'm just giving you generally what other people would do usually. Okay, usually. But I've seen some different projects, doing it different ways. Okay. Again, you spend 15 days, there should be some output of it. There should be something. You cannot say, let's say you are a performance test lead, and by the way, who would do it? The test lead and the manager. So after 15 days, now the lead goes back to the project and says, I've done all the planning, but that planning is there in my mind. That planning is there in my mind. Nobody will accept that. Nobody will accept that. They will say that, okay, if it's there in my mind, if it's there in your mind, you should have put it in the document, because we cannot read your mind. We cannot read your mind. So the ideal thing is you document everything. You document everything that you have planned. Okay, if it's your marriage, you can plan it in your mind, and you are the only person involved, or probably there are a bunch of 4 to 5 people involved, and you share the plan with them. But this is a professional, this is a work life. You cannot say that you have planned in your mind. You have to document that, and not only document that, you share that document across to all the people belonging to the project. Okay, because they wanted to see the document, and they wanted to understand your planning, and they wanted to see if they are okay with your plan, or if they are in consensus with your plan, or they are satisfied with your plan. Okay, typically once the document is done, there is a process called review. Okay, so on the weekend when I'm showing you the test plan, okay, I'll clearly tell you, this review as well. Okay, so there is a place in the test plan which you leave saying that this document needs to be reviewed and approved, reviewed and signed off. The official word is sign off. So sign off means what? Approving. Okay, so you leave a certain place in the performance test plan saying that so and so people needs to be signed off. Okay, for my project, there were 3 people that were supposed to sign off, and all the 3 people were from the client side. So I share, once the document is ready, I share this document across to all the people. But before I sharing it to the client, I used to do the self-review, and I had my team review it once, and once from my side I'm happy, then I would send it to the client. So client side, different people we can send, infrastructure team, development team. Okay, from their side, the performance test manager, the program manager, business analyst. So these are all the people that you share, but all the people will be just reviewing it, but certain important people in the list will be signing off as well. Only, let's say you're sending this document to 15 people. All the 15 people will review it and will give you the review comments. But there are 2 or 3 people who need to sign off. Sign off saying that, oh, this document is good. Now this is baseline. This document is good. Now it is baseline. Okay. There is a term called baseline. Hang on, guys. I'm not able to write it here. So let me write it here. Okay. Baseline. Okay. So baseline means this is done. The baselining is done after your test plan is signed off. Okay. So will everybody sign off? No. Very important people you give the right to sign off. There are, let's say, there are 15 people who are important, or 15 personal, or 15, I would say personal, okay, who are important in your project. Okay, so all this, you send this document to, send this test plan document to all this 15 people or 15 personal, okay, NEL, yeah. Okay, or all these 15 personnel or 15 people or 15, teammates. They're not teammates, they're from the client. Okay, so now they have the right to review. All of them will review, okay, if they have time, and they will give the review comments. Okay, but out of these 15 people, there are 3 important people, or 1 or 2 depending on your project. Okay, for me it was 3, but it could be 1 or it could be 2 or it could be 3. So 3 people has to sign off. Okay, sign off, has to sign off. Once they sign off, what do they mean by signing off? We are happy with the planning. Now you go ahead and start doing your performance testing. Enough of the planning. I'm very happy with it. Now you can start doing your other activities. So once the document is signed off, then you can baseline this document. Baseline this document means no more changes to this document. No more changes to this document. You said you have signed off. You said you are happy. Now we are not looking into the test plan again and changing this plan again. You are happy with the plan. Let's freeze this plan. Let's freeze this plan. Okay. This is what it is. Okay, so now the plan is frozen. Now that the document is being baseline, once it is baseline, which means that everybody is happy, and you're freezing the document. And this happens for how many days? This happens for how many days? 15 days. This process happens for how many days? 15 days. Okay, total how many days? The first stage is for 15 days. Okay, stage 1 is for how many days? 15 days. Okay, now we are in the stage 2. This is the NFR stage. This is the NFR stage. Okay, now the stage 2 is the test planning stage. Okay, test plan or the test strategy phase, which is the stage 2. Okay, this happens for how many days? 15 days. Okay, so total 30 days is done. Okay, total 30 days is done. Okay, total 30 days is done. If you are a performance tester, sometimes you don't even know these activities are happening. All you see is your manager and lead are running around, having, getting into the calls, talking hundreds of questions to different people. This is what you will be observing. But, unless you are involved, you wouldn't know what is going on. Okay, so you think that these stages are not there at all, or these documents are just popped out from thin air. Okay, so, but they spend a lot of time working on these activities and pulling this information from different people and getting them together and creating the documents. Okay, now IO has a question. Let me see that question. Are there any circumstances that may prompt the modification of test plan after the baseline? It happened with me. It happens all the time, IO. As per the process I am telling you, but you get into the real world, things will be different. Okay, things will be different. It happens sometimes. No, I wouldn't say all the time, but sometimes, yes. Okay, now there is one more important activity that happens during the test planning phase, which is WLM. What is that? WLM, or Workload Modeling. Okay, this is probably one of the very, very, very important activity that happens in performance testing. Okay, we spend probably 1 day on this, understanding what is WLM, what is that we need for as a part of WLM, and how do we come out with the different statistics. Okay, so here also in the class I'll cover basic WLM, but on the weekends I'll cover some advanced WLM. Okay, so when the things becomes complicated, how to do the workload modeling for advanced what do you say circumstances. Okay, so this will be a part of the weekend as class as well. If I forget, please remind me, so that all these topics will be covered. So for the weekends, we have 2 tasks now. Walkthrough of a sample test plan. Okay, probably we'll spend 30 minutes maybe on that. Okay, and I will also share a sample test plan with you. Okay, or yeah, a dummy or a demo test plan. Then advanced workload modeling. Some cases, if you're going as a 6 years, 7 years, they will ask you, they will give you certain situations and say, okay, if this is the situation, how do you do the workload modeling? So that is the things that I will cover as a part of this. Okay. Now, at this point of time, what is this WLM or workload modeling? You need not have to understand, but when the time comes, we'll definitely talk about it. But at this point of time, you just need to know that as a part of test plan, you do an activity called workload modeling. Okay? Sujata, you want to be a presenter? Why would you want to be a presenter? I didn't get that. Can you make me the presenter? I didn't get it. Sujata, are you sure? Okay, probably that was by mistake. Yeah, that was my mistake. I was surprised. No, you wanted to take over and start training it? I'm happy, Sujata, you can do that. Okay. Yeah, I need trainers. If you want to be one, let me know. You can start the classes. Okay. Yeah. Now, once this document is frozen, now the next stage starts. The test design and the development. Okay. So first, let's see what happens. Who is involved? Performance test specialist. Who is performance test specialist? You are the performance test specialist. Okay. I'm telling you guys, if you follow the class well, once the tool demonstration starts, you attend all the weekend classes and you attend all the classes, I will make you not specialist. If you work hard, you can call yourself, okay, somewhere close to that. Okay, because we are really getting into the advanced topics. Okay, start from the basics and get into the advanced topics. So please, some of them who are from the non-IT background, please be ahead of the class, because I've already sent you all the videos from my last batch, all the 31 videos from my last batch. So please start watching those videos from day 8, where the tool demonstration starts, so that you are ahead of the class. And if you have any questions over the weekends, I'm there to help you out, so that you are ready for the actual classes. Okay, once the programming starts, you might fall behind. I'm really worried about that. So please, if you're new to programming, please spend some time. I know some of them are working 10 hours, 11 hours, but if you want to, if you want a better life, you have to put all that efforts, guys. Okay, that's what I can tell you. Okay, I've already given you one example, a motivation, what Melly is doing. She's spending a lot of time. So probably you can take that as a motivation and you can start working as well. Okay. Now, what happens during this test design and development? You as a performance test specialist will start creating the test scripts. Okay, so creating performance test scripts. Okay, so once the tool demonstration starts, we'll start creating the test scripts as well. Okay, so why test scripts? Why we need to create the test scripts? I will not answer this question now, but once the VUGen, there is a component called Virtual User Generator. Once that starts, I'll tell you why scripts needs to be created, but not now. Okay, so now how many days you spend on this activity? Which is stage 3. Okay, this is test design and development. It's not slash, it's and development. Okay, so how many days? Typically 1 month, guys. Typically 1 month. Again, these numbers I'm giving a ballpark numbers, guys, but it will change. This number of days that I'm talking, it changes all the time from project to project. But typically these are what people usually go with. So that's the numbers I'm giving. So total, how many months are finished now? Stage 1 is 15 days. Stage 2 is 15 days, and stage 3 is 1 month. So far we are done with 2 months. So far we are done with 2 months. So once this stage is completed, so you will be done with 2 months of your project. 2 months of your project. Now, will you create one script or multiple scripts? Typically, it depends on the project. You will create multiple scripts. So in my last project, I have created close to 10 scripts. Okay. The project before that, there were close to 30 scripts, but there were a team of 3 people. There were a team of 3 people working on this 30 scripts. Okay, it changes, but you get a ballpark idea as to what will happen in the real world, guys. I'm giving you all these numbers because you get a ballpark idea as to what happens in the real world with the real numbers. Because in the interview, they won't ask you what is performance test life cycle. They will ask you, can you please explain what happened in your project, in your last project? Or they will ask you to tell, can you tell me what are the activities that you are involved? Do you know that any activity that you are not involved? So these are the questions they will ask you. In the real world, can you please tell me step by step what has happened in your project? So they will ask you these kind of questions. So to better ready for yourself, I'm going with all these numbers, number of months, the people involved, the number of scripts, all that so clearly that it should be visually, you should be able to understand what is happening so that you can talk about that. Okay, you can talk about that. But definitely this will be an interview question, not what is performance test life cycle, but please tell me what has happened in your project. So can you please tell me how the performance testing has started? You cannot say that, oh, I went into the project and start creating the scripts. No, there is a process. First there is NFR gathering, then is the test planning, then the scripts will start. Okay, then the scripts will start. So I want you to understand each stage very clearly and visualize it. Okay. Okay, so Majid, you can say that this is what happens. Okay, based on your resume, they will ask the questions. If you don't say that I haven't worked on it, nobody will ask you. But they will ask you, what do you think what would happen in the performance testing? Then you can talk about all this. Okay. Now, finally, okay. Once the scripts are ready, now we are ready to execute. As I've told you, typically it will be 10 scripts, 20 or 30 scripts depending on the project. Now all the scripts needs to be executed. So that's the execution stage, which is my stage 4. Again, who is doing it? The performance test specialist itself. Who is doing it? The performance test specialist itself. Okay, so we are starting. Our work has started here, and it has continued into the test execution phase as well. Okay, and typically how many days this goes for? Test execution, which is stage 4. Stage 4. Typically, again, it will go for 15 days. Okay, this is the execution phase, and who is involved? The performance test specialist, or in some companies they call it as performance tester. In some companies they call it as in some companies they just call it as performance test analyst or performance tester. Okay, different people call it different way. So some people they call it as performance tester. Okay, so performance test analyst. Some companies they call this as performance test analyst. Okay, different companies call it by different names, but it's all same. Okay, wonderful, guys. So wonderful. So we are into the execution. Okay, once we execute, there will be some results, right? Execution means there is some output. What is the program? The program is something wherein you can have an output. When you execute a program, you should have an output. Otherwise, there is no problem. There is no point creating the program, or there is no point creating the scripts. So when you execute them, there should be an output, and that's what is the test results. So what is the program, guys? Again, what is the program or what is the script? When you execute, there should be some output. There should be some results. So that's what we have here. So when we execute this test scripts that we have created, there are some results. So that is the output of these results. test scripts is the output of this stage. Every stage you remember, guys, you spend some time, there should be an output. You spend 15 days over here, there is an output. You spend 15 days here, there is an output. You spend 1 month over here, there is an output. You spend 15 days over here, there is an output. Now you take these results to the next stage and you start analyzing them. You start analyzing them. Again, analysis is how many days? It's again 15 more days. Okay, so stage 5, analysis. Okay, this goes for 15 days. Again, the next 1 month or 2 months that we have, one month I would say, 1.5 month I would say, you understand how to create the scripts very clearly. You yourself will create the scripts and you will execute the scripts and you will analyze the scripts as well. So that is the reason why I'm not spending too much time telling you what happens, because you will be doing it, okay, in the next 1.5 month. Okay, so stage 5. Okay, so stage 5, 15 days. Again, what do? Analyze it. Okay, you will do the analysis or analyze them. Okay, as to what has happened, how are these results? Are they good? Are they bad? What are my SLAs looking like? What are the results I got? Okay, is my results matching the SLAs? All that you will be looking at. For simple thing, let's say I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you what is the analysis. I mean, simple. I'm telling you. I mean, when we go to analysis, it's a very deep subject. Okay, you go really deep into it, but I'm telling you just to get a ballpark idea as to what it is. Let's say there are 4 transactions: login transaction, okay, add to cart transaction, okay, so add to cart transaction, and payment transaction, and finally our checkout transaction. Let's call this as checkout transaction and logout transaction. Okay, logout transaction. I'm giving you a break, guys. I'll be giving you a break in 5 minutes time. Okay, since we have started, we'll complete this. Okay, checkout transaction. Let's say these are all the transactions that you have. Okay, so as per the client, every single transaction, the SLA. Okay, what is the SLA for each one of them? What is the SLA for each one of them? Let's say the SLA for this is 2 seconds. Okay, for this one is also 2 seconds. Okay, as a part of NFRs, you got this information. Okay, as a part of NFRs, you got this information. What is that? You know, for each of those transactions, the SLA is what? 2 seconds. This is all in seconds, guys. This is all in seconds. Okay, now you have done the test. Okay, you have created the scripts, you have executed the scripts, you have the results. Now you are into the analysis stage. So what are the results looking like? Let's see. Okay, what are the results looking like? Let's see. This is 1.98. Happy? Okay, so this is 1.75. Happy? Okay, this is 2.5. Okay, this is 3. Okay, so this is 3. Now this is all in seconds as well. Okay, this is what is expected. This is what is expected, and that's what the client has expected out of the system under load. But under load, what is the reality? What is the reality after you have created the scripts and executed the scripts and you get the results? What is the reality? You look at this. Okay, so definitely. Now in the first case, you know, please tell me, are you meeting the SLA? Are you meeting the SLA in the first case? Are you meeting the SLA? Please tell me, guys. Yes. Okay, no issues with that. Are we meeting the SLA for this? Are we meeting the SLA for this? Yes. Okay, now are we meeting the SLA for this? Are we meeting the SLA? No. Wonderful. Are we meeting the SLA? No. So all this happens where? As a part of analysis. All this happens where? As a part of analysis. Now you know that there are certain transactions which are meeting the SLA. There are certain transactions which are not meeting the SLA. So are there bottlenecks? Are there bottlenecks in the system? Are there bottlenecks in the system? Most likely, yes. Now you have to do further analysis. You have to do further analysis. Now further analysis means what? Where is the issue? Where is the issue? Or in performance testing language, where is the bottleneck? Okay, is the bottleneck there on the load balancer? Okay, we know already the architecture, right? We know already the architecture, right? Is the bottleneck available, or is the bottleneck present in the load balancer, or is the bottleneck present in the web app servers? Okay, web app servers. If yes, is it Okay, okay, later on I'll talk about it. So is it present in the database server? Okay, or is it present in the network? Okay, we know that between these servers there is an intranet. Okay, between these servers there is an intranet or a local area network. Is the bottleneck over there? Okay, is the bottleneck over there? Or okay, so let's assume the bottleneck is there. Now you have figured out that, oh, there are some response times which are bad. There are some response times which are bad, not meeting the SLA, and let's assume that it is because of the, let's assume this is because of the web server tire. Okay, so web app server tire. Okay, if it is there in the web app server, okay, we know that there is a Java program on that or a .NET program on that, or in other words there is a program on that. So is it problem with that program? Okay, Java program which your developer has created, is the bottleneck present over there, or the bottleneck is present in the web app server setting? Okay, web app server setting, every server has a settings as well. Okay, some settings are there. So is it problem with the settings? Okay, is it problem with the settings, or is it problem with the processor? Okay, the processor is not able to take the load. The Ultra Spark processor 3, the Ultra Spark, SPARC, okay, Ultra Spark processor that you are using is not powerful enough and is not able to take the load. That could be the problem. Or the memory means RAM, right? Memory which you have 16 GB is not good enough, so maybe you have to increase it to 32 GB. There could be different problems because of which the response times are high. So not only we need to figure out where is the issue, but you have to pinpoint where is the issue. You have to pinpoint where is the issue. This is all the part of analysis. For example, if it's a database server, if it is you have figured out that the web server is all good, but the problem is with the database server. If the problem is database server, then is the problem with the SQL queries. Okay, whatever the queries that is been written and which are fired, they are not good. Okay, so probably this needs to be tuned. This needs to be tuned. Tuned means they need to fine tune them. They need to change it so that it is performance efficient. Again, I'm telling you guys, I'm going a little fast here just to give you a ballpark idea what is analysis. But when we get to the analysis part, we'll discuss in detail, little details. Okay, but right now just to get an idea as to what is analysis, I'm giving you the picture. Okay, so is it clear so far, guys? Can I proceed further? Is it clear? Is it clear, guys? If you want me to repeat it, I'll take the break and I'll repeat it again. Okay, please tell me. Is it clear, everybody? Okay, because this is little complicated to understand. I don't want you to get overwhelmed. Okay. Okay, tuning. What is tuning, guys? Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, during my engineering or school days, I mean engineering days, okay, I used to have a motor bicycle. Okay, probably you would have seen, whoever have ridden the motor bicycle, they would have known this. Okay, so ladies, you have to imagine. I know some of you might not have seen this. Okay, so whenever I find an issue, I used to go to bike mechanic. Okay, say that there is some sound, you just have to the mileage is going down, or it's consuming way too much gas, so please look into it. So what this guy used to do is, there is a button at the bottom, or there is a knob. There is a knob at the bottom of the bike. He used to turn it around like clockwise, anti-clockwise, and then he used to put on the gas, or he used to kick on the gas, and he used to fine tune the knob, and he used to listen to the voice that the bike is making. Okay, while he's hitting on the gas, or in Indian language, while he's accelerating, or putting on the hitting on the gas, there is a sound that comes. He want to hear that fine sound. Until then, he will be moving this knob right side, left side, clockwise, anti-clockwise, until he is happy with the sound the bike is making. Okay, so now he's happy, then he says that now your bike will run optimally. So that is what is tuning, guys. That is what is tuning. Tuning means if you do too much, it will be a problem. If you do too less, it's a problem. So similarly, the SQL queries needs to be tuned as well. So, okay, you can write, in other words, you can write SQL queries, okay, in any number of ways for the same output. Okay, you want this output, you want the username and password for, let's say, for a particular person. You can write the same query in 10 different ways. You can write the same query in 10 different ways. But out of these 10 different ways, there is only one way which is performance efficient. Performance efficient means quickly it will retrieve the data. Quickly it will retrieve the data. Okay, so for the same output, you can write the same SQL query 10 different ways. But out of these 10 different ways, one way is performance efficient. One way is wherein it will quickly go to the database and get the information. So this SQL queries needs to be fine-tuned, means he has written a query which is not performance efficient. Now he has to go back, whoever has written the query, he has to go back and write the query so that it is performance efficient, or change the query so that the output will be same, but this time around it will the output will be quicker, or it is performance efficient. That's what is SQL query, tuning of SQL queries. Or there is something called indexes. Okay, they might have to add the indexes. Okay, so there are certain more issues. Okay, there are certain more issues in the database side as well. They need to look into. Okay, so this is the issues. Again, you can pinpoint and tell that this is the SQL query which is taking a lot of time, because of which, okay, you see, add to cart is firing a particular SQL query which is taking a lot of time. That is the reason why checkout, so not add to cart, checkout transaction is taking 2.5. So if you fine tune this query, definitely this response times will improve, because if you fine tune this query which is related to this checkout transaction, fine tune this checkout transaction, okay, then definitely the time taken by the query will be decreased, and then the time taken by the overall transaction will decrease as well. So like that. Okay, not only figure out where is the problem, but pinpoint the problem. Pinpoint the problem means, not only figuring out where it is in the web server, but pinpointing the problem. Is it in the Java program, or is in the settings, or in the processor, or the memory? Same thing with the database server. So SQL queries or indexes or the processor. Here also you have a processor and memory, so it could be problems over there, or it could be a lot of other problems we'll discuss as well. Okay, we'll discuss as well. Okay, so this is what happens in the analysis phase, guys. This is what happens in the analysis phase. So now the next question, Kumar. I know in the class I learn performance testing. I trust you. You will teach me LoadRunner. But what do I know about the query? How can I figure it out? Where will I go get the data and all that? I totally understand your concerns. Okay. Now it is a team activity. Analysis, you will do whatever you can from your side, and you create a test report. And send it. Okay, create the test report. Okay, saying that these are the response times that I'm expecting. This is what I have, and based on my basic analysis, this is what I figured out. And you can put it across and send it. But pinpointing the problem, it is done as a part of bottleneck analysis. But pinpointing the problem in the web app server, the problem is blah blah blah. That is what is pinpointing the problem. Pinpointing the problem happens in the bottleneck analysis. Who is involved? Performance test engineers, the whole team. What is the team? The developers, the performance test engineers, the performance testers, the network admins, the database admins, and whoever you think are required. And technical, you pull in all the people, and all the people will be involved in figuring out that bottleneck, or pinpointing the bottleneck. Okay, it is not an easy task. Sometimes it will happen in 1 hour, sometimes it will happen for weeks together, wherein you will not be able to identify the issue. Okay, so it's a combined effort. From performance tester, we will do whatever we could. But is it our complete responsibility? No. Sending the report is our complete responsibility. Sending the report is our responsibility. With whatever the analysis that we could do or we have done, it is fine. You'll send it with whatever the knowledge you have. You give it to them. Now it is up to the whole team, and that team includes you as well, to pinpoint the bottleneck and fix the bottleneck as well. Fixing, usually a developer or a performance engineer will do, but figuring out the problem itself is again takes a lot of time. But once the problem is figured out, fixing doesn't take too much time, guys. Fixing doesn't take too much time. Okay, now Once the issue is fixed, now you tell me guys, once the issue is fixed, okay, now the performance engineer has identified the bottleneck, pinpointed it and fixed the issue. Now do you think you should test it again, or you say that I know this performance engineer from last 1 year, I trust this guy, he's a wonderful guy, if he says he has fixed it, he would have fixed it? Would you go with that, or you say that he might be good, but I wanted to see with my own eyes, as to is it fixed or not? What would you do? Option 1 is you trust him and say that okay, let's go with his word. A second thing is I trust him, but I wanted to see with my own eyes, because I am responsible for the performance. As a performance tester, I am responsible for the speed of the application, or I am responsible for the performance of the application, and I will wanted to check it again and I wanted to see it again. Which one would you go with? Trust him but test again. Yes. Okay, that's what it is. You do this all the time without your knowledge, guys. Let's say your mobile phone is repaired. You went to the service center. You're given the mobile phone. Okay, but once it is fixed, while you're bringing the phone back, okay, in front of him, you open the mobile and you will check it. I know you went into a authorized service center. Okay, but still, once he says he has fixed it, you would still wanted to open, test it again with your own eyes and make sure you are happy before you come out of the service center. This happens everywhere in the life, guys. Okay, so performance testing is no different. You wanted to check it yourself. Okay, but when you wanted to check it yourself, the test scripts are already ready. All you have to do is the text execution. You get the results, you do the analysis. Again, in the analysis, you find a problem. The next time around, let's say this is fixed, 1.55 you got, but this one is 2.5. Okay, now what would you do again? Oh, it's just one transaction. I'll let it go, I'll close it. Or again, you send it to them. What do you think you should do? Okay, so this is the first round is done. Now the second round, the checkout transaction is well under the SLA. So this is good, but the logout transaction is not meeting your SLA. So what would you do again? Now what do you think you should do again? Yeah, send it for bottleneck analysis again, saying that, oh, whatever you have done, it is fixed partially, but it's not fixed completely. We have to, you shouldn't say you, because you are also part of that performance engineering or tuning and analysis. Now we need to see what is happening with the login transaction. We need to identify the issue. We need to pinpoint the issue. We need to fix it again. Now the performance engineers may be taking 3 days, 4 days, or whatever it is, or the development team, performance engineering team, whoever it is. Okay, they will take so and so time. They will fix it. They give it to you. Again, you go back to the test execution. You run it and you look at the results. Let's say after this second iteration, now this is, let's say 2.1. Okay, let's say 2.1. Let's come to the realistic. Okay, let me not go with the ideal word. Let's come to the real word. Okay, so 2.1. Now you're off by just 10%, guys. Not even 10%, 0.5%. Okay, means 5%. So people let go of this. Okay, says it's fine, it's good enough. 2.5 is probably good. So they said, okay, we are done with it. We are closing it. Now the performance testing life cycle is closed. Total, how many days it has taken? 15 plus 15 days, 1 month plus 1 month, 2 months plus 15 days, 2 months, 15 days plus 15 days, 3 months. Typically, this process goes for 3 months. Let's take a 10 minutes break, guys. After coming from the break, I'll take all the questions that you have. In case if I have missed out the questions, please post it again so that I'll take the questions. Okay? But the questions are after the break, guys. So let's take a 10 minutes break. Now you got a picture as to what would happen in the real world. So we'll spend good amount of time on the analysis part, okay, to understand what would happen when the time comes. And over the weekend, we'll spend a little bit of time on the test planning part and advanced workload modeling. Okay? Please take 10 minutes break, guys. I'm putting the recording on pause, but once I come back, okay, please remind me. Alright, it was a little longer. I didn't keep a tab of the tab on the time. Was it exactly 10 minutes or I took a little longer? Hello?
Yeah, it was 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So I hope you're able to still see the screen. So guys, are you back? All of you, are you back? Everybody?
Yes.
Knock knock. Thank you. Okay, wonderful guys. So let's get started. So before the break, we have looked into this performance testing life cycle. Thank you so much. So any questions on this, guys? Before I proceed and look into the other thing. Okay, finally, once everything is done, you create a final report. And thanks, Krishna Prasad. I'm going ahead and what is it? I'm recording the stuff. Just give me one moment. What has happened to this? Yeah. So it's getting recorded. Yes, I've started recording. Thank you. So finally, you just go ahead and create the report, and then you are out of the project now. The project is done. Now the next cycle will start. Probably they will make some changes to the build. Again, on the same product, you might be doing the performance testing again. Okay. So there was once this online banking application. I worked on 4 cycles. Okay. Yeah, 3 4s are 12, almost one year. So once this is done, created the test report. Again, you get a new build. They make the changes. There is a new release and all that. Again, you do the gathering, test planning, design, execution analysis, and give the report and final report. Like that, for the same online banking application, I worked for almost 1 year on 4 cycles. Okay, so any questions? Any questions? Okay, so wonderful. And finally, you create test report, guys. You do remember this, and I will show you how to create the report as well. Okay, that happens probably 1 month from now. Okay. Okay. So now this is one expectation that I have is software development lifecycle, guys. Okay. Now in the class I cannot teach software development lifecycle. So in case you're completely new to IT, okay, please do some research on software development lifecycle. Okay, so this slide I have created because in certain places, in certain interviews, they are asking this question. So for this, okay, I have prepared this slide, but the prerequisite to understand this particular slide is what is software development lifecycle. With that prerequisite, I'm going forward. Okay, but in case if you don't know software development lifecycle, it's not difficult to understand. Do a little bit of research. There are a lot of YouTube videos out there. Understand what is software development lifecycle, and then certainly you will understand this particular slide. Okay, this is my earnest request to all the people out there who is completely new to IT industry. Okay, so software development lifecycle, there are multiple stages. Okay, one is requirement analysis, design, development, okay, testing, and finally the maintenance or whatever it is. Okay, so this is where you gather the requirement. This is where you come out with the software architecture and all that, procure the infrastructure, come out with the architecture and all that. This is where you develop that piece of code, and finally you test it, and this is where performance testing actually falls. And finally the maintenance stage. This is the software development. Just like for performance testing, we have a life cycle. For development of a particular piece of code or an application, there is a life cycle. Okay, so that's what we are looking at. It's not too difficult, so just go back and learn. But somebody who's from the IT industry, they definitely know this. Okay, so we gather the requirement from the client for the developing any application. Then you design. Design means what? You come out with the architecture diagram, and you procure all the infrastructure, and you keep all the things in ready. And development means this is when the developers will start developing the piece of code, may it be in Java, .NET, Python, or whatever the programming language it is. Finally, once the thing is developed, you will have to test that piece of code, and this is where your manual testing, functional testing, performance testing happens. And finally, once the product is rolled out into production, it goes into the maintenance stage. Okay, I gave you a ballpark idea as a briefing about the software development lifecycle. Now, the interview question is, when will the PT lifecycle or performance testing lifecycle starts? What do you say? With respect to software development cycle, how does this performance test life cycle falls into place? Okay, in the software development life cycle, if the requirement analysis is happening, you're expected to start the performance test life cycle in parallel with performance test lifecycle ideally should start in parallel with SDLC, which means that when requirement analysis for SDLC is happening at the same time, non-functional requirement gathering and analysis should happen in performance test lifecycle. When the design is happening and all that, once that is done, then the test strategy. Like this, both of them should happen parallelly, hand in hand. This is the ideal case situation. This is an ideal case situation wherein both will start parallelly. Some people are calling this. Some people will calling this arrangement as shift left strategy. Shift left strategy. They're calling this as shift left strategy. So both of them start at the same point of time. Ideally, this should happen, and they're calling this as shift left strategy. But for my project, this is what it was. Okay, once the development is done or while the development is in progress, okay, this is when we started the performance testing lifecycle. Okay, this is when the non-functional requirement gathering started, test strategy, design, development, execution. Okay, so this is what happens. So for me, this is how it has started, but ideally this is what should happen. So in your interviews now, you can go ahead and use whatever you want. Okay, but certain places definitely this is an interview question. Some people are asking this question: when with respect to SDLC, when is your performance testing started? Okay, so in the SDLC, while the development is going on, that's when we have started our performance testing. When we said we started our performance testing, not creating the script, right from NFR gathering is what? Right? Okay, I'll talk about it, Lashim. So when you said you have started the performance testing, which means that you have started with the NFR gathering, then planning, then design. When not that, some people think that you have started performance testing, you started creating the scripts. No. When you say that you are starting performance testing, you are actually starting the NFR gathering, then the strategy, design, execution, and analysis. So in the interview, if they ask you like, when did you start this performance testing? It's just like when the development is going on, when the SDLC development is going on, that's when we have started. That's what happened with my project, and that's what would happen with a lot of projects as well. Okay, that's what I heard. But ideally, this is what should happen, and this is what we call it as shift left strategy. Okay, shift left strategy. So why we are calling this as shift left is, imagine all these stages are there in the line. Okay, I have written it like this so that I can use the complete space of the slide. But ideally, if you have written, ideally if these stages are aligned horizontally, then you are going to the left. This is what is happening. Ideally, it should happen from here. So you're going to the left. So that's why they're calling it as shift left strategy. Okay, Lashim, you understood? Instead of writing it down like this, if I would have written it down like this, the design, okay, then the development, okay, then the testing, okay, and finally the maintenance. So now your PTLC is starting over here. Shift left strategies, you're going towards the left side, and you're supposed to start on the requirement analysis. So that's why they're saying they're shifting to the left. They're shifting to the left in the SDLC. You see, instead of writing all the stages like this, okay, so going vertically down, okay, if you would have written all the stages on horizontally. So I'm saying that for my project, the performance testing life cycle have started on the while the development is going on. While the development is going on. Okay, while the development is going on. Okay, so performance testing life cycle has started. So shift left means you are going to the left, which means that ideally you're supposed to start in the requirement analysis phase. So you're going to the left. You see, you're going, or you're shifting to the left. So they're calling it as shift left strategy. So Lashim, does it make sense? I mean, why they named it and what is it called? Or should I explain? Okay, there are two questions. Okay, I'll take one question after another question. So Lashim, I understand. Wondering if it has the name for the one which isn't shift left, the one which starts vertical down few steps. Lashim, I didn't get that point. Whatever you're saying, can you unmute yourself and speak so that we can discuss? So not getting the shift left paradigm. Okay, so you're going to the left side. Okay, so Phil, I thought it was simple. See, this is right side, this is left side. Okay, we are going to the left side, so that's why they're calling it as shift left. Okay, so Lashim, I'm not quite understood, what it is. Okay, sorry Lashim, I somehow I'm not able to, you know, process in my mind as to what you're saying. Okay, so let me write it down quickly here. Okay, first is let's talk about SDLC. Okay, what is the first stage? The requirement phase, then the design phase. Okay, so this is the SDLC, right? The design phase. Now the development phase. Okay, then you have testing phase, and you have development. Okay, development, testing, and maintenance. Okay, now typically most of the people, they start the performance testing while the SDLC is there in the development phase. This is when they start the performance testing. Okay, this is when they start the performance testing. Okay, this is when they start the performance testing. Okay, so performance testing, when we say performance testing, again there are different stages to it. Okay, first is NFR gathering, then you have test planning and strategy, then you have design and development, then you have execution, and finally the analysis. Okay, analysis. Okay, so this is what happens. This is what happened with my project. This is when the SDLC is in the development phase, we have started our performance testing. This is what happens in a lot of projects as well. Now this is the left side, right? For me, I am writing this is the left side. Ideally you should start from here. Okay, for me it has started, and a lot of projects start from here, but ideally a lot of people are now asking that it should happen. Okay, it should happen from here. It should happen from here. Okay, so ideally it should happen from here. Okay, so ideally it should happen from here. Now this is you're going, now PT is going to the left side, so they're shifting to the left in terms of SDLC. So now the PT ideal, this is ideally, will the clients have that much money to spend and all that? It's a different story, but ideally it should start from here. So it is, you're shifting to the left, so shift left strategy. Okay, so that's what I meant. Okay, Phil, you got it right. You're shifting to the left on the SDLC. Okay, so not only for performance testing, they're talking about this shift left strategy for all the testings, manual testing, security testing, and all that. They're saying that while the project is starting, we'll start the testing as well, so that we have a better chance for the quality of the product. Okay, so yeah. So Lashim, is there any better quality, clarity in the mind now, or still you have the question? Lashim? Okay, thank you. So now the question is with Melly. Just to clarify, I thought you mentioned the performance manager, test manager, and lead gather the NFR, or performance 2 as well. Typically it's the manager and the lead, Melly. That's what I've seen. Okay, but you never know. There could be some projects wherein I've seen there is no manager, there is no lead, nothing. You are the one person, they put it and they say, okay, go do the testing. Then you have to do everything. Okay, I've seen those projects as well. Yeah, wonderful guys. Okay, so new chapter. Can we start now? 10-15 minutes, or we are done for today? What do you think so? I want to hear from all of them. Okay, can we start? I want to hear from all of them, guys. Now I am taking your time, which means that only if you say yes, I'll take. Even one person says no, I'll be stopping the class. Okay, but within 8:30, Okay, within 8:30, I mean within the time that you have allocated to me. Okay, even if one person says yes, I'll go ahead, but after 8:30 this is your time. Okay, if I'm taking your time, you are the ones who has to authorize. Okay, so you have given me the authorization, nobody said no, so I'm going forward. Okay, I'm so glad to see so many yeses, which means that please proceed tomorrow. Okay, so Shraddha says tomorrow, so let's do it tomorrow. But I'm very happy that I received so many yeses, which means that it is interesting and you're able to understand all my efforts that I'm putting. You do understand, right? There are 30 students in the class, and making all the 30 students understand and make them understand, it's a big task. Trust me. Okay, I'm not what do you say, bragging about myself. I'm just happy because everybody said yes. That's what it is. Okay. Uh, uh, okay, guys. So there's certain students who wanted it tomorrow, so let's do it tomorrow. So tomorrow again, it's very, very interesting. We are starting with the first stage of PTLC, which is NFR gathering. So Io and Majid has asked me, can we look at this, what these NFRs look like? Yes, tomorrow you will be able to look at. Okay, we spend one good day. You will be understanding what is KPIs, what is SLAs, what happens in the project, what is the information that you're supposed to collect, and all that. Okay, so sounds good, guys. So we have completed the 3 months of performance testing as to what will happen. So once you get into the project, you got a clear-cut idea as to what would happen when you get into the project, or when you step into the project, or at least you know what you're supposed to happen and how much your project is deviating from what is supposed to happen. Okay, on that note, we'll take off, but before that I'll take all the questions. And before I start taking the questions, I have one single announcement to make. Offline classes, okay, this is just for people living in Hyderabad. Okay, classroom sessions. Okay, classroom sessions. Okay, classroom sessions or offline trainings. Okay, offline, I would say offline classroom presence or offline. Okay, offline sessions will start tomorrow, not today, start tomorrow. Okay, where is the location? Exact location I'll tell you, but this is in Amirpet, Hyderabad. Okay, anybody is around, they are feel to come over, feel free to come over. Whoever is my student, okay, online student, it's completely free of cost for you. Okay, with no extra cost. These are classes are available for you, no extra cost. Whatever you're paid for my online trainings, that is good enough. So no extra class cost. Please come over, or any of your friends wants to come for the demo, they're most welcome for the demos. But as a student, you are always entitled to come sit, learn, spend some time with me. Okay, and exact location I'll tell you, but it will start from tomorrow. So this is a very, very important announcement. Okay, so for all the students who are planning to come to my classroom trainings. Okay, the location is almost fixed, so we'll be starting tomorrow. So now I'm ready to take the questions, guys. So please go ahead. Shraddha, you can unmute yourself and start asking.
Yes, sir. Yesterday we were talking about the think time. Think time is time taken by the users. So in a slide you were saying that this can be set in the LoadRunner. So how means if the time taken by the users, then how can it be configured in LR?
We'll do that when we get to the LR, right? We'll be able to do that. Once you understand the internal working of the Vuegen, you will know that Vuegen is replacing the client. Okay, Vuegen is replacing the client. So Vuegen is instead of you sending the request, it's the Vuegen which sends the request. So Vuegen is replacing the human effort. So if the humans have a think time, then we have to replicate that in the Vuegen as well. Okay. But at this point of time, this is how much I can answer. But once you get into the Vuegen part, you will understand that better. Okay. But at this point of time, you just understand that Vuegen is the one which replaces the actual user. Okay. In the real world, the actual user will send the login request, but in performance testing world, Vuegen sends the login request. In the real world, actual user will send add to cart transaction, but in the performance testing world, it will be the Vuegen which will be sending it. Okay, because the virtual users will replace the real users. Virtual users doesn't know what to do. The script will tell what to do, the Vusion script. Got it? Shweta?
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so we cannot have the real users test it, right? Real users cannot come and test it. So virtual users test it. But virtual users, do they know what to do on your application? No, they're just the virtual users. You need to train them what to do on the application. The training is done via script, the Vusion script. So
Okay.
the Vusion is replacing the human beings. If the Vusion is, if the real users have the think time, we have to replicate that in the Vusion as well. And that replication will be using that settings in the Vusion that I've told. Okay. Shraddha, are you convinced?
Yeah. And in performance testing, when we find some bottlenecks, so I was asking, can we change it by ourselves to make the performance better?
First of all, you don't have the
Okay.
complete access to the performance testing environment. Only you have the access so that you will be able to send the request and receive the request. They don't give any access to you so that you can get into the system. Okay, so you're not, can you, if you have the capability, you can, but will they give the access? No. But using the tools you have, at least you can guide them as to where is the bottleneck. You got that?
Okay. Yeah.
Performance testing environment means there are different servers. Servers means you have to have the access. You cannot just log in. Let's say you have a friend laptop, Shraddha, and there is a username password, user authentication. Now you have to go change something in your friend's laptop. Can you just directly go and log in without knowing the username password? No. He has to give you the access, which means that he has to share his username password to you so that you can open that laptop and you can make the changes. Servers are same, right? You cannot go and access them, or you cannot go modify something on the servers unless they give the access, and I don't think they will give access to you, or at least in my 7-8 years or overall 14 years of testing knowledge, never they gave any access to me, server access. Okay, sometimes they will give you the access to just query a database and all that, but they will, I mean, do certain things, but not on a full-fledged access, depending on the work you do. But performance testers, I don't
Okay.
think they will give access to fix it. For fixing it, you need the access to modify it.
Okay. And next one is how much programming knowledge is required in that, means what we need to refer, or I'm just saying this because I have just basic knowledge of Java and SQL.
No,
SQL I have.
no, you don't need to have knowledge of Java or SQL. Okay, so
Okay. Okay.
uh, you need to have knowledge on C programming. You need to have knowledge on C programming.
Yeah, C programming I have, but okay.
As long
Okay,
as you know
fine.
C programming, we are good to go. Okay, so you are not doing the fine tuning for the sequels and all that. You're just identifying that this query is the problem. That's okay. Melly
Just
has
to
asked the same question as well. How much knowledge? Not too much, Melly. As long as you know, create couple of few SQL queries. Okay, I'll send you the link, request for it. Just play around a little bit. You spend one day on that. You get to get a feel for, like, how the queries will look like. That should be good enough. Okay, but you want to improve. Nobody is stopping. That's good. But as a performance tester, very basic knowledge is good enough. Okay, and Phil agrees with me as well. Okay, but at least if there is a query, you should be able to understand that, oh, this is a SQL query. Okay, that's what you need to. So, but C programming, you have to have good knowledge. Okay, so Majid, if you have good knowledge on SQL query, it's additional. But do we need? No. Do we need a lot? No. But C programming, spend time. This is where before our programming starts, or before Vusion starts, I want everybody to have some basics of G. Okay, basics of C. So when I said basics of C, okay, so what is those basics? Okay, conditional statements. Okay, like if else loops. Okay, and you have to have some knowledge on loops. Okay, like for loop and while loop. Okay, and string comparisons like strcmp and strstr, which this one I will cover in the class. Don't worry about it. This one I will cover in the class. But as long as you know a little bit of knowledge on that and what is constants and variables. Okay, so this much knowledge you have, I'll be able to help. I mean, you should be able to understand the classes. Okay, just the conditional statements like if and else. Okay, okay. Yeah, so don't go with C++. Majid, no, not required C++. C should be good enough. Okay. So as long as you understand the basics like variables, constants, and if-else loops and while loop for loops, so we are good enough. Okay. So that should be good. Typically, Vusion supports two languages. Okay, C and Java. Okay. In the class, we take C. We will go with C. Java is not required. So C should be good enough because there's a lot of help available for C when you're dealing with Java. Okay. So this should be good enough, guys. Whoever is getting ready, please spend some time on C programming. Make sure you spend a couple of days understanding few things. And if you have any issue understanding the C programming, you can set up a class with me. I'll go through the basics of C programming and help you out with constants, variables, if-else loops, while loops, and all that. Okay, but you have to tell me upfront so that I'll take a class or two only for the people who doesn't know C. Okay, but if you have this basic knowledge, you can get along with my standard classes without any issues. But if you think that I should, so please let me know upfront. We'll agree upon a time on the weekends and then spend a couple of hours to get you started with C. Okay? Anybody, please request that offline. Send out a mail. Okay? But I'm quite sure these basics you should be able to do it yourself. Okay? And if you need any help or links, if you need any links for learning C, okay, please let me know. I have some wonderful links. I've already sent it to a couple of students. Okay, so you can request for that. I'll send you the link. You can go through the link and it's very easy to learn. Okay. I'll let you know overall it's different HTTP status codes Srivalli, but we'll not go deep into it understanding each code. Okay, but I'll let you know overall what it looks like. What is 200s, what is 300s, what is 400s, what is 500s. Okay.
Hey Kumar, I have a question. So I was watching your videos, your previous videos that you sent us, and you did cover some C functions and stuff.
Yes, I'll be covering.
Right. So if we practice those, is that enough, or do we need to do more trainings like besides the class?
That should be enough. That should be enough. But while I'm while I'm explaining certain things like for loop, while loop, and if-else loops, I understand that you already know, and I proceeded further. Okay. So, but variables have clearly explained constants, variables, substituting, and all that. But loops like if-else and all that, I've assumed that you know, and I proceeded further. So if you practice a little bit on this, that should be good enough.
So outside of the class, the lessons that you would give, I have to spend some time learning if and else.
Yeah. So I'll request for the link. I'll send you the link. It's very straightforward, Melly. If you spend 1 hour or 2 hours, it should be good enough. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll request for the link. I'll send you the link. You can do the self-training. Okay. And you still need the help. Just knock me, and then probably I'll announce a 1 hour class, not only for you but everybody else, and whoever wants to join they can. Okay, but that will be all.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, Phil, these are not YouTube videos. Phil, what happens is as I'm recording this, right, I would have recorded the previous batches as well. So some of the students, they want to be ahead of the class because, they might not be able to catch up when required. So I'm sending all the them. Okay, so these are the videos. Okay. Okay, so Kiran, please request them offline. I'll send it. Okay, Kiran, please request them offline. I'll send those videos. So there are a couple of Kirans. Which Kiran we are talking about here? With the last name, please. Which Kiran we are talking about? There are 3 to 4 Kirans in the class. I think two Kirans or 3 Kirans. Oh, Morampudi. Okay, Kiran Morampudi. Okay, Kiran, I'll send you. Okay. Just request for the same with the email. I'll do that. Okay. Okay, guys. I think we are good enough. So I'll send the running notes and I will send the recorded videos as always. Okay. So I hope you're enjoying the classes, but the real thing will start when the programming starts. Okay. So timings will not change, Naresh. It's the same time, 7 o'clock India time. Okay, US time 8:30 Eastern Standard Time or whatever it is, and whichever time zone you are, so you can see whatever the time that comes to, but Eastern Standard Time it's 8:30. Now that there is a daylight saving, same time every day, same time, 7 o'clock India time. And classroom tomorrow, I'll notify you, Naresh, and notify you. Okay, we have already created a group. All for the classroom trainings, I have already created a group. Okay, so I'll be notifying you on that. Okay, so probably I will have an update by maybe 11, 11:30, 12. I'll send you. Okay, sounds good. All of you, sounds good. Yeah, thank you everybody. So see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Have a good day. Thank you, Majid. Thank you so much for your well wishes. Sumati, I hope now you've got an idea as to what would happen, because you asked me on the call, sir, please tell me like what would happen. You know, this is the definite interview questions which I'm facing. I have a difficulty. Okay, so now I think you should be able to clearly answer all the questions. Okay, wonderful, Sumati, wonderful. Okay, Sumati, you are welcome to come to our offline classes as well when you are in Hyderabad, or anybody as a matter of fact. Okay, you wanted to spend some time, you know, get some assignments, get hang of the tool, you know, I'm there. Okay, but before coming, please watch out for that group and see what activities. Okay, and whenever the class, that's when you should plan to come. Okay, Sumati, don't come some other time, you know, wherein there is no classes going on, so you will be wasting your trip. Okay, I hope if Anita is there. Anita is there? No, Anita, she wanted offline as well, so I wanted her to I wanted to be involved. Okay, probably I'll inform her offline. Okay, okay guys, so bye bye, take care.